Hi, this is Andrew Smallman from the Law Offices of Gilbert and Smallman, and today we are here to talk about another high-profile case, that being of Aaron Hernandez, the ex-New England Patriot tight end who is now accused of murder. So the facts in this case are Aaron Hernandez apparently has a little bit of a checkered past. He got into some trouble in college, but nothing serious. Nothing that should really raise many flags. However, someone went missing and they found a car. The car was a rental that was in Aaron Hernandez's name, and the dominoes started to fall. So what ends up happening, at least the facts that we know as of now, is that Aaron Hernandez apparently was at least present during the death of a man named Odin Lloyd. That man dates or dated his girlfriend. It was his girlfriend's sister. So there's some relationship there. Apparently, and the vague details are that this man, Mr. Lloyd, was speaking to a couple individuals who Mr. Hernandez doesn't like. While at a club one night, they all leave the club, and apparently they all get into a car together. They go into a vacant, I don't want to say a lumber yard, but almost like a construction open field place near Mr. Hernandez's house. Gunshots are heard, but no one sees anything really. On his security cameras, and we'll get to his security system at home in a few minutes, but they capture Aaron Hernandez with a gun in his hand shortly thereafter on his front porch or walking into the house with another individual. As it turns out, during the police's investigation, Mr. Hernandez was not cooperative. Now, he has a right to not be cooperative. You don't have to offer up facts to the police, but it certainly was deemed suspicious at the time, and now, many weeks later, we understand why it seems so suspicious. So the police wanted to question him about this man's disappearance. He didn't want to answer any questions. They come to find out that Mr. Hernandez's cell phone was destroyed by him, and his security system was destroyed. Apparently not well enough, because they do have the images that they've captured. In addition to that, the individual who was killed sent out a text message right before, I guess, he either left the club or after he left the club, saying to, I believe it was his girlfriend, "Hey, did you see who I was with?" And then he writes, I guess she wrote back no, and he writes back NFL, which the prosecutors are going to say is code for Aaron Hernandez, being that he's an NFL player. It really could not have meant anything else, and that's what they're going to go with. How they're going to get that in, as far as admissibility, is somewhat irrelevant right now, because it can still serve as the basis to establish probable cause for his arrest. Once Aaron Hernandez was arrested, there were two other people who were arrested in connection with this. They were taken into custody, one of which was taken into custody in Miramar, Florida, not too far from the law offices of Gilbert and Smallman, about 15 to 20 minutes west of us. Those individuals will likely be singing like birds in order to get a good plea deal. We've already heard that one of them heard from the other that Aaron Hernandez admitted to pulling the trigger. Now, that's a lot of hearsay, and it's going to be tough to overcome hurdles to get that in. However, when all of this eventually goes to trial, if it does, I'm positive the prosecution will make offers to those two individuals that will be too sweet to turn down. And I expect them to testify against Aaron Hernandez. Normally, this early in a case, I usually don't have an opinion on whether someone did it or someone didn't do it. But in this case, my opinion is that he had something to do with it. The evidence certainly points in that direction. And either this is one of the more elaborate setups in history, or he had some sort of involvement. It doesn't mean that he was the one who pulled the trigger. And unfortunately for him, it doesn't have to be that way. Someone else could have pulled the trigger if it's at his direction, or if he's in cahoots, for lack of better words, with that individual. He's as guilty of murder as the guy who actually pulled the trigger. That being said, it doesn't look good for him. But now I'm going to talk about at least what's happened in court so far. After Aaron Hernandez was taken into custody, his lawyer diligently filed a motion to try to have a bond set so that Mr. Hernandez could live at home while this case is pending, as opposed to living in county jail. The lawyer was very unsuccessful. the facts that the prosecution presented were tremendously overwhelming as it pertained to whether or not Mr. Hernandez was a risk to either take flight. He certainly has the financial means to get on a plane and never look back. And that includes all the money that he has not even yet earned from the New England Patriots based on a contract that he recently signed, which I believe was somewhere in the $45 million range. Now, he won't see a lot of that money, but he certainly has enough in the bank that he could certainly hop on a flight out of here. In this particular case, Odin Lloyd, the individual who is since deceased, was apparently talking to some individuals at a club. Aaron Hernandez didn't like those individuals and certainly didn't like Mr. Lloyd talking to those individuals. It's come to find out, and it is just speculation at this point, that in the previous year there was a murder, a double murder in Boston. I believe only one person died, but I believe 2 were shot, or maybe 2 died and 3 were shot. Either way, there was gun violence in Boston that apparently the police are speculating that Aaron Hernandez had something to do with, and that the individuals that Mr. Lloyd was speaking to possibly had an affiliation with those victims from the previous crime. Aaron Hernandez has been quoted as saying to someone that you just can't trust people anymore. That to me was in reference to Mr. Lloyd, who Mr. Lloyd was dating the sister of Aaron Hernandez's girlfriend. They obviously had some sort of relationship, and it seems at some point as if they were relatively close. Aaron Hernandez seemed to be a little perturbed that this particular individual, I guess, took his trust for granted, would be the best way to put it. It seemed like he counted on this person to either keep his secret safe or just at least someone that he could trust like family, and he felt like he was being betrayed. Clearly, that's no reason to kill anyone or be involved in the death of someone, but this is all police speculation, and that's what's going on now. The judge in this particular case really laid out the idea that she thought that if the facts as alleged by the prosecution were true, that letting Aaron Hernandez out of jail would be just a really bad idea for her. There's no bond that she could set that he couldn't post, and I guess there was no bond and no conditions that she would feel comfortable with placing on him while he was out of custody. I guess she didn't think an ankle monitor or house arrest or anything else, for that matter, would keep him present in the jurisdiction to face trial. And quite frankly, she's probably right, at least to keep him in for now. I guess she doesn't trust him, and based on the facts, she had every right to not trust him. It's her right and it is her discretion as the trial judge to decide issues of bond. We have bond hearings all the time, and the job of the lawyer is to put his ties to the community and the safety of the community forward to show the judge that she should feel comfortable enough to allow him out, and this particular lawyer couldn't get that done. And that's not a comment on the lawyer's ability. Sometimes the facts are just too damaging to overcome. Now, a lot of the focus has been on Aaron Hernandez and how he would be perceived in jail. The county jail officials have kept him in relative solitary confinement with very little contact with the other inmates. Being that he's an NFL player and is a person of means, he could easily be a target in there, and regardless of Aaron Hernandez's size, which I believe is somewhere in the 6'1", 240-pound range, there's plenty of guys in there his size, and if there were multiple of them to try to make him a target, he would have a considerably difficult time physically dealing with that. So the county officials have, more probably for his safety than anything else, have kept him in relative solitary confinement. They also did a couple interesting things prior to putting him into jail, which they say they do for everyone, but we'll never know. They examined his tattoos. He is covered in tattoos, and I believe that the county officials wanted to make sure that none of the tattoos had any sort of gang affiliation. I guess in recent weeks there's been rumors that Aaron Hernandez may be a member of a gang. The county officials didn't want to take the risk of placing him in general population where a rival gang member could take a shot at him, or, like I said before, just being a person of means and being someone who's famous, someone else might try to get their 15 minutes of fame by beating him up, killing him, any number of things. And in the meantime, the state is putting together their case. The defense is going to be served with discovery, and there's going to be a witness list put forth by the prosecution, and the defense will then take the time to schedule depositions and try to find out what each person would say at trial. But as it stands now, Aaron Hernandez is locked in county jail. It doesn't look like he's going to be getting a bond anytime soon, and this is the part of the case where it's the meat where the lawyers really do their best to come up with all the facts and angles. The prosecution is going to take the angle that he killed Mr. Lloyd in order to stop Mr. Lloyd from disseminating certain information that might implicate Aaron Hernandez in other crimes. And from a defense standpoint, I'll be completely honest, I don't have a clue what it is they're going to put forward to show that Aaron Hernandez didn't have anything to do with this individual's death. But like most of America, I'm dying to find out. So keep looking to our website and our blogs for updates. We'll be updating this case as it becomes available. You can also see some of our other videos on the Trayvon Martin case and Stand Your Ground, which is also another high-profile case which just ended with a verdict with Mr. Zimmerman being let go as the jury found him not guilty. And any other high-profile cases that we deem interesting enough to make a video about will be on our website. You can go to www.hgilbertlaw.com to see our website for the rest of our firm. This is Andrew Smallman for the Law Offices of Gilbert & Smallman.